Good morning, English 12. It's Mrs. Sopiarz-Rianda. I hope you all had a restful weekend, and you are ready for this last big push. This is it. This is the last week of new content material in English 12 first semester, and it's a pretty big week. I want to highlight this right here. This session, session 5, is due by Friday, December 13th. I want to say that one more time so you all hear me very clearly. This is due, session 5 is due by Friday, this Friday, December 13th. You will not have the weekend to submit your work from this last session. All work is due by Friday. Okay? So many of you, not all of you, submitted your first drafts by yesterday, Sunday, and I will work my hardest today to provide you feedback on your first draft. So you will receive your feedback on your first drafts by the end of today, maybe early tomorrow. Okay? By that, you will have enough time this week to complete the rest of the assignments for session 5. As I mentioned here, what you'll be doing is you'll be revising your draft. You will be using feedback from peer editing and my feedback, and you'll submit your final draft into turnitin.com, and you will also have a reflection assignment due that is just due in Schoology. So part 1 is that essay submitting in turnitin.com, and part 2 are those reflection questions that are due, and those are all due by Friday. Okay, so click here to start. And again, in nice bold letters. I didn't make it red because I think red's a little aggressive. I did it in blue because it's a little happier. Okay, again, this is due by this coming Friday. Okay, so be sure you get it in on time to get those most points. This session, like I said, this last session has new materials and assignments. It's the last one. Remember, you will not have a cumulative final. Instead, this critical lens essay is worth 150 points, and it is your cumulative unit assessment. So in this session, we're going to be completing peer editing, revising, and then again, submitting your final draft into turnitin.com. Some important announcements as you scroll down here. Next week, starting Monday, is final week. And it's not finals week, as in you need to submit a final exam. It's the final week of the semester. And this week is designed to help students to basically increase their grade if they are willing to put in the effort. So if you have a B and you really want an A, then you can redo some assignments to get that A if you want to. If you are an F and you really want to get to that D, you have this last week for your last attempt to try to get to passing. Okay? Attendance during final week is required. Even if you are happy with your grade and you don't want to do anything else, you still need to log in to English 12 every single day. All work from final week, so late work or work that you're redoing, is due by Wednesday, the 18th before midnight. That's because I need some time to grade, and grades are posted on Friday. So here is a summary of all of the assignments, like I mentioned, that are due. And what you can do today is watch this video and then complete the initial revision process and post your draft to the peer editing conference discussion. Tomorrow, review focus lesson 1 and apply it to your essay. Provide feedback to 2 other students on the peer writing conference. Then be sure to review my feedback on your first draft. Work on your final, submit your unit reflection, and then finally on Friday, submit your final lens essay into turnitin.com. Okay, so let's get started here. Just want to navigate through this a little bit for you. Here are some essential questions that you'll be thinking about. Here is the initial revision process. Okay, hopefully you've had a few days to let your paper breathe at this point. Make sure that you go through these questions slowly, carefully, and thoughtfully to help you revise your first draft. Then the focus lesson this week is citing quotations. In this essay, you should be using quite a few quotes from the science fiction novel you read. You should have at least one quote per paragraph. These quotes are the very best way to provide evidence for your ideas. So in order to use them ethically and have academic integrity, you need to add a citation to the quote to demonstrate to the reader where the quote came from. And this is really easy, actually. So step 1, find the quote from the book in your draft. Find a quote from your book in your draft. Find the page number from that quotation in the original text. After the quotation in your paper, add a parentheses. Inside that parentheses, list the author's name and the page number, and that's it. You repeat this for every quotation in your paper. So here's an example of what a well-cited quote would look like. Okay? Please double check your entire paper and make sure all quotes have correct citations immediately after them. Then, at the end of the paper, you are required to add in a word-cited page. To cite your book, use this format. And you're only going to be citing one source, which is your novel. You weren't required to do any additional research on this. If you did, fantastic. List it in the works cited page. But your novel, your science fiction novel, should be the only source on your works cited page. Okay? So click Next and submit revise your essay, making sure that you properly cite your quotes, and then submit your essay here into the peer editing conference. The next and final step is to go through this checklist. As you can see, the very first thing on this list is review the feedback from me and revise accordingly. If you submit your final draft without using my feedback from your first draft, I'll simply say, go back to the first draft. I'm going to be putting in a lot of time and effort into giving you feedback, so be sure to use it. It'll only develop your writing skills and increase your grade. Okay? Make sure your paper has a clear thesis, that your paper is written in clear paragraphs. Read the paper carefully for all grammar, spelling, punctuation errors. Make sure the paper meets the 2-page requirement. Include quotes from your novel and cite properly. Include your works cited page at the end of your paper. And make sure you've used at least some of the feedback received in your peer conferences. Click Next. And then finally, it's time to submit your final. Remember, I said there's 2 parts, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 you're going to be submitting into turnitin.com. Part 2 are these reflection questions that you're going to be submitting into the Dropbox. So clicking Next here. Here's all the information for submitting your essay, Part 1, into turnitin.com. You should already have an account with turnitin.com that we used for a reader response earlier in Unit 4. So if you do have your account set up, all you have to do is log in using your username and password. If you forgot it, there's a handy little button there that says Forgot Password. Use it if you need to. Okay, but if not, go to number 6 and simply go to your account, enter our course, and submit your assignment for the Critical Lens essay. Okay, now this is a really important part. Wait an hour or 2 and then return to turnitin.com. It allows you to check your paper for grammar and spelling mistakes, and then you can revise it and resubmit. It will also show you potential problems with plagiarism. Please check out those reports and revise as needed. Okay? Anything more than 5% that is not original and that's not direct quotes is a problem, and you need to go back and either cite your sources properly and or give credit to your sources. Okay? Click on the originality and grade mark at the top of the page to see those reports. If you find problems, the system will let you resubmit as often as you like. So use those reports to better your grades. Right here is a tutorial if you need any help on how to create an account, submit an account, or go back and revise. Be careful here. Plagiarism, you will receive a 0 for this final assessment if it is plagiarized. Okay, so once you submit your paper into turnitin.com, the next part of this assignment, Part 2, are simply these reflection questions. Please answer them completely, thoughtfully, and in well-developed sentences, and just submit them into the Dropbox here. And finally, you're done. Next week, like I said, is final week. It's a time for you all to get your grade where you want it to be. If you have any questions this week, please let me know. I'm going to be working really hard this week to give you a 24-hour turnaround for your first drafts. So if you submit your first draft, just message or email me, let me know, and I'm going to be working really hard to grade them within 24 hours this week, just so that you have enough time to submit it by Friday to get full credit. Thanks, and work hard.